Hi, it's Emily, and this is the if I can only pick one tag. Right, where's my book? My note. So I was tagged in this by Connor and Chloe, so I will link their videos down below, and yeah. Thank you very much for tagging me, and I'm very excited to get to this, although I have been a little scared because picking one book from like my favourite authors is a hard concept for me to grasp. No, that makes me sound stupid. Right, let's just jump on in. Let's remove that hideous card on me from my friends from my shelf. We don't like that. Much better. Right, let's get started. So I'm going to work my way up to my like all-time favourite author, which if you've even watched my last video or one video ever, I've probably mentioned who my favourite author is. So we're going to build our way up to that. First I'm going to kind of go over some like honourable mentions that like aren't my favourite authors, but they're authors that I like auto buy or like definitely check out when they publish new books, but they're not like, none of them are like my favourite books or anything. So this first one is Alice Oseman for those, and I have to say my favourite novel by her is definitely Loveless, which I read this month in August. That I think was definitely my favourite Alice Oseman book, although I also really love the Heartstopper graphic novels, but my favourite novel was Loveless. I'm going to go through these mentions quickly. The next honourable mention is Terry, and my favourite book by Terry is probably Slated, which is where I first discovered her writing. I read it for the Amazing Book Awards, and yeah, I really loved it and have loved everything since, but I just have so much special memories with that one, so that's why I've picked Slated for that one. I know it's like the first in the series, and if I couldn't read the rest of the series I'd be like gutted, but still it has the best memories for me, I think. The final like honourable mention is Morgan Matson, which is someone that I always just buy the books of. I have all of her books and I always read them, but they're never like, I don't know, they're not books that I then rave about, but I do seem to always buy her books because they're just like fun to read for me. And so the one I've picked for Morgan Matson is Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, which is I think the second one I ever read of hers, and I just loved this one. I went on such a journey with it, and I found some of my favourite songs from this book because it has the playlist. So yeah, that's why I picked Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. Plus I love this cover edition because it's like postcard. Yeah, anyway, moving on to the next author. So moving on to like books I'm going to talk about a bit more, like the top 3 authors now I think. The first one I'm going to talk about is Agatha Christie. She is an author that I will continue to read until I've read everything by her, and then move on to like Mary Westacott, I think is the name that she wrote her romances under. And it was really hard to try and decide which one's my favourite, and I've got 2, which I'll quickly talk about. This defeats the point of this whole video. I am leaning towards one though. So I'll talk about the second one first, which is, oh my god, it's on the floor, which is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, obviously. So this is about 10 strangers that arrive on this island called Soldier Point, and they're cut off from the mainland, and then one of the people suddenly dies, and it's this whole mystery about why did they die? That's what I'm trying to say. And because they're cut off from the mainland because of the weather, they know that they're on this island, one of the people on this island did it, killed him. So that's why I really love this one. Plus the TV adaptation I really love, and like Aidan Turner in it. Can't complain. But I think my proper favourite by Agatha Christie is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. This actually got me. I didn't even consider the person who did it. I was just shocked. Yeah, I just was left at the end like, what the heck did I just read? And yeah, I love this story. I think it's the only one that I can really, really remember everything from, because I was so engrossed in it and so like absorbed in the story that it was just so good. So this is why that's my favourite Agatha Christie ever, I think. I don't know if I'll ever read another one that'll beat it. I'm still going to read her books, but it's just every time I'm like, nothing can beat this. Like the feeling at the end when you find out what it was, that the mystery is solved, and you're like, what the heck? Or that was me anyway, that was me. So yeah. So the next author is Jo Watson. She's my favourite romance writer. I've only read like one series from her, but they're so good, and I just got her latest release on NetGalley, so I'm so excited. but Jo Watson is definitely my favourite romance author. I think, so she definitely takes second spot as my favourite authors, and my favourite book by her, I don't have a copy of right now because I lent it to a friend who's reading it and I haven't seen since the beginning of lockdown, so yay, and that is Almost a Bride. This one, I love the whole Destination Love series and it just makes me laugh. This one especially, it's just like my favourite one. It's just like, oh, so feel good and it just makes me laugh. I don't know how to express my feelings about this book, but it's just so funny. It's about this girl called Annie and it starts with her walking in on her boyfriend cheating on her with his colleague from work, doing really like kinky stuff that she never did with him. So then she goes and has like a little bit of a breakdown. She's then like arrested because she thought someone was burgling her when actually it was her boyfriend. Anyway, so she gets arrested. The charges are dropped by her boyfriend, or ex-boyfriend now, and her girlfriends, they're like, let's just go on a girls trip to Mauritius, and then they all drop out at the last minute and say they'll come in a couple of days. So then Annie goes on her own to Mauritius and she meets this guy called Chris and they don't really necessarily get along immediately. It's just her luck when Trev, her ex-boyfriend, shows up with the girl he cheated on her with, and Annie's just like, yeah, I've got a boyfriend called Boyden, he's Australian. Chris just happens to be nearby and jumps in and is like, yep, that's me. He can't do an Australian accent and it's just funny because they have this like kind of couples battle, and then yeah, it's just funny. I just recommend it so much. It's just, oh, I love it so much. It's just so good and it's such a feel-good book, and yes, it's like cheesy and sometimes cringy, but the amount of times I actually laughed out loud is probably the most in any book I've ever read. So that's why I definitely would pick Almost a Bride. Like when I was thinking, oh, what Jo Watson book should I pick, it was 100% going to be Almost a Bride. That was a long ramble, but highly recommend it. Finally, we're on to the top spot, my all-time favourite author. Shouldn't be a shocker, it's Patrick Ness. And so this was probably the hardest one to actually think about because my mind instantly went to one book in particular, and I thought, you know what, like actually consider other books because they've all been amazing in my opinion. Pretty much all of them. So I didn't really know which to go for. But then I thought, you know what, that was my gut instinct. So I have gone for that first book that I picked, and that is Burn by Patrick Ness, which is his most recent release. It came out this year. I just went with it because it's so I just love it and I recommend it all the time to people. It just was so good, and it actually got me crying at points. It was just such a good reading experience. Like I really enjoyed the reading experience despite the fact that it made me cry of like frustration and sadness. When I look back at it, it was just like, oh my goodness, it actually managed to bring out these emotions in me, which not a lot of books do. I hardly ever cry at books. So yeah, I'll quickly read the inside because I always find it really hard to describe what it's about, so I'm just going to read the like blurb. On a cold Sunday evening in early 1957, Sarah Dewhurst waited with her father in the parking lot of a Chevron gas station for the dragon he'd hired to help on the farm. This dragon, Casimir, has more to him than meets the eye. Sarah can't help but be curious about him, an animal who supposedly doesn't have a soul but is seemingly intent on keeping her safe from the brutal attentions of Deputy Sheriff Emmett Kelby. Casimir knows something she doesn't. He has arrived at the farm because of a prophecy that involves a deadly assassin, a cult of dragon worshippers, 2 FBI agents, and somehow Sarah Dewhurst herself. So yeah, it was just like so random, but it worked. And it worked so well, so I highly recommend this. But it's also set in 1950s America, so there's like historical bits, and I found it very educational because I don't know much about American history, so that was beneficial. But also it was just so good, and I've also decided that when I next can afford to buy books, I'm going to splurge out and also get the American edition, because I found this one, I like it, I really do like it, but I think I prefer the American cover, which is like not normally the case for me. But yeah, I just want both because I just love it, and I know I'm going to be rereading it because it was just so bonkers but so great. So I definitely recommend this definitely recommend it. So check it out, please. I want to talk to someone about it. I don't know many people who have actually read it, and it's really annoying me. Because, not annoying me, but it's like, makes me sad that I can't like gush with someone. I need a new Patrick Ness book. It's been too long already. I mean, I know it's only been like 3 months, if that, but it's still, I need another Patrick Ness book. It's something that I can't go without. I might have to reread some. Well, next month I am rereading one, so hey! Alright, I'm just rambling on about nothing now, so let's just wrap up this video. So I'm only going to tag Rebecca over at Rebecca Books for this challenge, so hope you enjoy it, Rebecca, if you do it. Hopefully you will. Right, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon with a new video. Apologies if you see me in this t-shirt a lot. I'm about to binge film. Yep. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!